Bulgaria a couple of days after what was a scrappy but very important victory over the North Ballarat Roosters in round 16. What did you make of the performance on the weekend?
Well, probably the first quarter, Sam, I don't think we played exactly to the conditions because obviously, as you said, it was pretty blustery and we were in a position where we had to kick into the breeze. So your game style, your ball movement and how you structure up changes from whether you've got it or whether you're into it. And I thought we probably attacked the stadium side a bit too early, and I thought we got outmarked fairly consistently in our, forward half. And then what they do is they rebound fairly quickly, and of course once they start changing the angles, it's a bit hard to defend. So we had to do a couple of things just to hold them up, but from sort of quarter time on, I think the scores were something like 2 goals 4 to 12 goals 17. So it probably was reflective, I think, of us being able to work into the game. Sometimes when you make changes, it's a little bit unusual, I guess, as far as the chemistry goes. So we had some new players in there, obviously. So, but all in all, I thought the middle part of the second quarter to half-time we were very good. Third quarter is probably the best defensive effort we've had. I might even go back to when we played Geelong at Geelong. And the last quarter we got, I guess, a little bit of bang for our buck, and even hitting the post 4 or 5 times probably. If you halve that, then it's 2 goals 3 or 3 goals 2, and it ends up making it a pretty good win. And so, as you said, mate, we'll take it, and it gives us obviously another chance to hopefully stay top 4.
We started off really slowly, but then basically dominated general play after quarter time. So you must have been wrapped with that response from the boys against an opposition who, fair to say, had their tails up early on their own turf.
Yeah, it was really noticeable when you got down there at quarter time. They were energised and they certainly were playing pretty well. And even talking to Mark Gregg before the game, they thought they'd actually been blown away in first quarters over most part of the season. So they thought they needed to get up and about. And as you said, if you want to be a good side, you've got to win away games. And I thought overall, the way we were led by Toby, I think he had something like 13 tackles, and Chris Kane's 2 goals 4, and Sammy Dwyer in and through the middle there. And Harvey Hooper, I thought, was very good. Damien Masidi returned to some of his best form. Young Ash Cracker certainly played fairly well. And Mitch Golby, all those guys that I mentioned have been in pretty reasonable nick. Damo just had to get back into what I call blue chip form, but even Lockie Waddell battled pretty hard, and I think tactically we certainly tried a lot of different things just to orchestrate whether we were with the breeze or whether we're into the breeze, and I think by and large everyone responded.
And we sort of mentioned it already, but there's been a few sides who have gone up to Ballarat and struggled at times this season, so it was a pretty solid effort overall to take home the 4 points. And in addition, you mentioned Harvey Hooper and Mitch Golby. They've been toiling away in the Development League, so for them to come in and grab their senior opportunity must have been really good as well.
Yeah, well, you knew they'd play reasonably well because they're coming in pretty good form. So, and even I think I said to Anthony Piccolo after the game and Crackers, we probably had, no disrespect to our current group, but there's probably been some pretty fair sides go up there over the years, and we've certainly had the long haul back to Melbourne with our tail between our legs. So, by and large, I think it says a lot about the competition. By and large, I think it says a lot about our form. Outside the Collingwood game, that's probably the only game where I think we've been beaten by the opposition, even though obviously we've lost games, but we've certainly been in them right up to our ear rolls. So for us to just stabilise, make some change, get a response, get some reaction, I guess. So all in all, it was a pretty nice drive back from North Ballarat.
And not sure whether you've had a chance to look at the development's vision of their win over the Northern Blues yet, but they're still on top of the table and had a few guys who were making their returns to footy from injury setbacks. So good to see that there's still some options for us over the final few weeks of the home and away season, and also entering what we hope is a long and fruitful finals campaign.
Yeah, well, that's the aim. So certainly there's a fair bit of work to do. But yeah, Murdoch got through a game, Arnott got through a game, and hopefully we'll get Brody Myercheck through this week. Mac Rivette got through a game. Dan Beddison got through at least a half at local footy. So all in all, it gives us options. I thought that was a really pleasing thing too with some of the changes that we did make on Saturday, was that they all gave us an extra degree of flexibility, and whether it was Crack going forward or playing up on the wing, or Harvey playing down back and then coming through the midfield, and Anthony Valor starting on the wing and then going back. So even Geordie Lyle had a little bit of a stint in the ruck too, which probably he was a bit uncomfortable with at the start, but once he sort of got his ruck craft going, he certainly contributed second half. So he tells me on the stoppage count anyway too. So, but yeah, look, we'll go into Coburg this week, and I think we're fully aware what we need to do, and it's just our last home game for the season. 4-quarter effort is what we're looking for, and yeah, to try and just keep getting the most number of players that we can into good form to hopefully select a good side going into the finals.
And just on that Coburg game, you're in line for a milestone. 200 games chalked up at the helm of the Borough. What does that mean to you, and what are some of your fondest memories that you'd maybe like to touch on entering this week?
Well, it probably says I'm getting pretty old, mate. 200 games, 10 years. I think I had brown hair a few years ago. But that's what coaching does to you over a long period of time. It tests your resolve and, I guess, passion. I've always been passionate, always been, I would have thought, highly competitive. Obviously, the memories are the wonderful players that I've been able to work with over a long period of time. Obviously, guys like Toby and Chris and Sam and Huey are still here, and they've been here the best part of 10 years for me anyway. Obviously, going past, I guess, players as John Baird, Sam Fleming, Shane Valenti, Nathan Batzanis, Shooter McMahon, Corey McGrath, Steve Brewer, Jared Dalton. I can just keep going on and on and on. And look, I've been terribly, terribly lucky to have the loyalty of the players here for such a long period of my football life anyway. It's something that I'll never ever forget. Obviously, as you go through the 10 years, things change. Premierships are always great, grand final appearances. We've been a standalone team in that 10 years. A lot of people have knocked, I guess, the VFL standalone model. We were the first standalone team to win a premiership, albeit a minor miracle going through the season undefeated and then the finals. So we've kept on putting ourselves up there competitively every week, I think, and by and large I'm sure we've done our supporters pretty proud over a long period of time. But I guess there's a little bit of unfinished business going through where we need to over the next month and beyond, hopefully. But as we know, it's a week-by-week proposition, and yeah, I've just enjoyed the ride with a lot of really special players over a long period of time.
Well, Gary, thanks for your time today. Best of luck in that milestone against Coburg in what is another vital game, and here's hoping we can celebrate a win on Saturday night.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.